after his talk is over, I am going to call the meeting to order. Meeting is called to order. Please rise for national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता
भाग्य
पंजाब
विधाता
सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा धन गण मंगल जय भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Very good morning, friends.
Good morning, all.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah. I am extremely happy to welcome Mr. Gaurav Sinha, who is among us today as keynote speaker. Gaurav Sinha ji, very good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Thank you, thank you. A very warm welcome to all participants who joined this meeting early this morning. Before I come on main agenda, allow me to announce certain important activities happened in the past week and planned for the future. As you all know, September 2020 is dedicated for basic education and literacy by Rotary International. We have already planned to celebrate Teachers' Day on 5th September 2020 to honor and recognize our own teachers. Since our teachers, after our parents, are the real architect of our life, and what we are today is mainly because of them, so it is imperative on our part to extend our heartfelt gratitude and sincere thanks to them in a befitting manner. In view of COVID-19 situation, we have planned to do this via the virtual mode. We will be dedicating a universal citation of honor to every teacher in the world, including our own, as a token of our appreciation and heartfelt gratitude. Each of our nominated teachers will be send their individual citation of honor directly using digital platform and hard copies to their communication address through members nominating them. We are planning to give befitting musical tribute to our beloved teachers by inviting them online over Zoom meeting. Time has already, details have already been shared to the group, to the members on the group. The last date was 21st. Very few nominations have come, so I will request all the esteemed members to please expedite, because time is running out. We have to go for this preparing the certificate citation of honor, and it is in the same way we celebrated the Doctors' Day on 1st July. So my earnest request will be to all my esteemed members. So please expedite and do this. My second announcement is regarding Rotary Club of Pune Riverside has taken up a mega CRS project for infrastructure development at two of educational institutions in Pune district. This project comprises of groundwater sourcing, borewell, recharging system, water collection, storage and distribution system, availability of safe drinking water, and putting up a hand wash station, drinking water taps, etc. Funding of $33,000 in INR, which comes 24,60,000 in is arranged by Kohler Power India Private Limited Pune through their parent company in USA. Our special thanks goes to Rotarian Rohit Jirazani for getting funding and Rotarian Umesh Jalan for taking forward Kohler project, keeping himself in the lead role. Thank you, Rohit and Umesh. Please keep it up. Bhumi Puja for this water project was done on last Thursday, 20th August 2020, at both educational institutions in August presence of Mr. Puneet Gar, MD, Mr. Samir Bondre, Director India Technical Center, Mr. Rajesh Arora, Associate Director HR, and some other senior officers from Kolar Power India Private Limited. Rotarian Ruchin Gupta, immediate past president. Rotarian Deepak Gupta, director fellowship. Rotarian Rohit Jirajani, past president. And Rotarian Umesh Jalan, director foundation and compliance, represented Rotary Club of Pune Riverside on this occasion. Thank you, Riversiders, and thank you who joined this. Now this is time for secretarial announcement by Prerna Gaikwad. Over to Prerna.
Hi, a very good morning to everyone once again. I just wanted to ask all of y'all if y'all have received the Rotary News magazine. We have shifted this to the online format. So please just check your emails. You should have received an email from Rotary News Trust. Do check your junk mail folders also. If not, please send me a personal message so I could intimate them that we haven't been receiving the magazine. The second announcement is regarding our fellowship. Since all of you already know the details which I've sent on both the club groups, our fellowship is on the 29th of this month, 6:30 in the evening. It's going to be fun, something different. So we're looking for more registrations. I need to give the names to the person who's going to be conducting it for us. We have to form teams. So last minute, if someone joins in, might be a little difficult. So please do send in your names in time, and hoping all of you will join for something different and something fun. Thanks, Colonel. Back to you.
Thank you, Prerna. Now I would like to invite Rotarian Neeru Goyal, Director Service Project, Rotary Club of Pune Riverside, say a few lines on Urja project, which is a good project and she is conducting. Over to Neeruji.
Thank you, Colonel Mishra. Yes, as far as Urja is concerned, Urja is our newest project where we Rotarians, our club, we contact different organizations and request that they motivate all their workforce to start doing pranayam. It is, of course, virtual pranayam, so that they get the strength and immunity in them, and the whole workforce is healthy, which is so much needed, especially at this COVID time. So to support this, we have started a free, this is a concept, and to support this, we have started a free pranayam classroom session called Urja every Sunday 9:30 to 10:30, and I request all of you to contact all the companies and organizations and HR heads, personally call them and tell them that this is a nice program and they should join in with their workforce. Thank you.
Thank you, Neeruji. Now it's time for formal introduction and welcome of today's keynote speaker, Gaurav Sinha ji. I would like to invite Rotarian Aditya Mishra, Director Global Grants and Fundraising, Rotary Club of Pune Riverside. Over to Aditya.
Morning everyone. I would like to first of all thank Gaurav, who is our immediate family member as well, for taking time out and joining us in the morning. As you know, we have already circulated his profile, but for our few of our guest members who have joined, I'll just read out. So Gaurav has 19 years of extensive experience across communication verticals of marketing and public relation. Presently, he is a part of management team of Audi India. Gaurav has masters in communication management from Symbiosis Institute of Media and Communication. He has also done a strategic leadership course conducted by Indian School of Business. Gaurav began his career in media organization, thereon in PR consulting firm. Gaurav has joined Audi India in April 2018 as manager communications and he has steadily grown and risen through the organization. First to head the communication department, now head both marketing and PR verticals. So Gaurav is a award-winning PR professional. He and his team were voted as best PR and communication team by NDTV in 2015, and then again in 2018. And he lives in Mumbai. Is a passionate sports and including cricket and football, and is an ardent fan of Manchester United of football club. So I would like, I would again formally, thank Gaurav for joining us in the morning. And now over to Gaurav to, to say few words on the proposed topic and enlighten us in terms of what's happening in the automobile industry.
Thank you, Aditya, for those kind words, and thank you to all esteemed members for inviting me and giving me opportunity, this platform to talk a bit about automotive industry, specifically EV. Before I get into the topic, let me also give my compliments and regards to you regarding the things which I have, observed today and over when Aditya informed me about it. During this COVID times and even before that, I think so. Members and the organization is doing some excellent social work, and in our country that is very needed. So my personal regards and compliments to all the members regarding this. And also, I think so you have been a pioneer in terms of using the technology in this COVID time by doing these Zoom meetings. And I'm sure in the earlier when you were doing in person, the limitation was to have speakers only from Pune, but now the world is at your horizon, and you're having speakers from all across. So wonderful compliments on that as well, to be a pioneer in that and use this technology really well. What I would like to do is I prepared some slides for you to take you on this automotive journey right now. I will probably let me just see if I am able to share my screen with you.
I will share that screen with you.
Thank you, sir.
Just a minute, just give me 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
Share screen. Should I share screen? Na?
So you will have to give me the rights. If you share screen, your screen will get shared.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Vishwaji, take the cursor to
1 minute, Niruji,
his thing.
Niruji, just minute. Just minute, Niruji, 1 minute.
Neeru's become a technology expert even more in these COVID times.
Yes, everyone is moving towards that, and they are getting expert. You have to just take the cursor on his window.
Niruji done.
Okay.
Gauravji, I have make you co-host.
Thank you very much, sir. I'll just go and present. Is everybody able to see my screen?
Yes.
Just give me, yeah, thank you. So when this topic was given to me, and I started thinking about this topic, and I started thinking also about the members who would be listening to me, and probably I was not too sure of the level of understanding of ins and outs of auto industry, and I thought I'll probably take a liberty to take you on a journey of auto industry from a perspective of what does an auto company like ours, or for that matter any other auto company, think, and then arrive at the EV question. So I put together some thought process of how a auto company goes about in terms of what's happening around us right now, what is our understanding of the auto space globally as well as in India, and therefore within that space, how EVs are a very exciting area. Having said that, with certain challenges and what is the trends looking forward to is how I conclude. Please, uh, ask me questions and any doubt. I do not claim to be a subject matter expert, but I will try to answer to best of my knowledge and ability, and try to be a kind of a sutradhar for you for the auto world, to take you on this journey. So before we dive into any kind of business discussion or any kind of industry auto discussion, all of us companies look at India as a diverse market. This is a very interesting representation I came across by a company called Our World in Data. This company represents the world population by not geographic boundaries, but by the extent of population. And as you can see, India presents a great opportunity here in this market because sheer size of our population invites many corporates and many companies like ours in this market. The second and most important aspect of this is that as per the last recorded information, 65% of our population still continues to be below 35 years. So which obviously is extremely exciting because that means that there is a young customer base or a young audience for any kind of product or any kind of market, more so for automotive industry, for where largely the customer bracket is between age group of 20 to 44 years. There are obviously outliers, but majority of car buyers are coming from the age group of 20 to 44, which is nearly 36% of the population. So that with the combined with the population, it presents a huge market opportunity for any auto brand, and leave alone a brand like Audi. Second, all of you are aware that we are a growing economy. In spite of the COVID challenge, we still are a growing economy. We are poised to be the third biggest economy in the world by 2030. And the kind of growth we have seen in last 20 years is not comparable to any economy in the world. So no company which has any stakes in future is going to ignore India as a market. And that's where we see a lot of players, especially from organized or developed countries like US, like China, like UK, are trying to enter into India market, because if you combine economy data with the population data, it's a huge market opportunity for any kind of brand or any kind of organization. Then you have to look at the automotive game. What was happening earlier and what is happening now, or rather going to happen earlier. Earlier, everybody was only about selling the car. Now it's about giving solutions to the people, because the customer is willing to pay extra price for a solution given to him. So it's not only about selling the car or the physical vehicle, it's about selling all the other services. Therefore, the product offering goes beyond the car from a company. I'm sure you are well aware of almost every brand now, even in India, offer all the allied services, whether it's about concierge service, premium services. I'm not only just talking about car service, I'm talking about various apps, car related apps, different technology solutions. Uh, Earlier, obviously, and even till now, in most of our cases, we own the vehicle, but increasingly the trend is going towards the leasing. Although leasing is not a big market in India, but globally it's a huge market, and India is poised to be a leasing market. And as the economy starts continuing to grow and car ownership patterns will start reducing, people will start leasing these cars and lease vehicles. We obviously use cars currently only for ourselves or our family, but shared economy, the shared rights is going to happen not only in terms of the private or the public vehicles, but also in terms of private vehicles. I'm sure you have heard the concept of co-ownership in case of private jets and some of the other high-end luxurious goods. Those co-ownership patterns will start coming in cars also. So there would be always in future a group of people or a group of organization which will own a vehicle, and they will use the vehicle amongst that and not across one individual. Uh, Everything was driven around the customer earlier, but now everything would be driven around the software. The cars of future, or even frankly, the cars of today are no longer just a mechanical goods. They are actually a software product. If some of you take your vehicles to the service station, besides the service advisor looking at the car, he actually plugs in the car into a kind of a advanced laptop kind of a system, which is called VAS, and he sees a lot of data points and indices in that, and he diagnoses the problem pretty much like how a software diagnosis happens when your computer goes or your mobile phone stops working. So most of the newer cars are actually serviced like that. Also, market economy is going to change. Earlier, you will have all big companies having their own R&D centers, their own supplier chain base, whereas in future, you're going to become a platform economy, pretty much like how you have an app from an Apple or an Android app, and the developers develop apps for the platform and not for the product. Similarly, in future, for the car companies, there would be apps you can download if you need. Just to give you example of couple of things which is happening not in India but in Europe. So I buy a car, I have 100 horsepower car, and I'm very happy and satisfied because I just need to go to my neighborhood store and my nearby office and all. But on one of the weekends, I'm actually going for a long drive and I'm going on a highway and I need more horsepower in my car and I need a more comfortable drive. I have something called Audi on Demand where I go on the app, I connect my car to the system, and mechanically I can buy more horsepower for 2 days, and I pay that additional price for that. So these kind of services will start happening more and more and more as we start moving in the future. Uh, as our industry was seen as a mechanical industry, so mechanical engineers were ruling in this industry, but you are already seeing this industry employs the highest number of software engineers apart from the IT industry. This is a very lesser known fact, but the auto industry has the highest number of employment of for software engineers. That's a clear indication that it's no longer just a mechanical product, but it's a software driven product. And from a linear production, we move to circular economy because you do not sell car only once. You sell the car then as a used car, then you sell the car with terms of all the services around it. And once the car comes back, then you are also recycling the car. Therefore, for all the CXOs and leaders, it's no longer about choosing one over the other. They have to play both the games because markets like ours in India have not shifted completely to the new game. We are largely still on the old game. So the challenge for our organization or the top management is to straddle between both these spheres. Then what is happening in the luxury space in India? Let me give you a quick overview. And there are obviously at any given point of time 12 to 13 players, starting with obviously us. Then there is our fellow German companies, Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, and then you have super luxury segments of Rolls Royce and Ferraris and of the world. Then you have the British brands, Jaguar, Land Rover. Then you have Lexus. So it's a very cluttered space. All these brands are actually fighting for what you see on the extreme right, basically 34,600 cars. That's the annual number of sales of luxury vehicles in India last year. So with so many brands, with so many events, with so many launches, with so much of investment in dealerships and workshops and all those across, ultimately it's leading to only a sale of 34,600 vehicles, which is roughly just 1.2% of the total industry. If just to say it simplistically, that there is, if you're selling 100 cars in India, out of which only 1.2 is deemed as a luxury car. So that's roughly a very, very, very low percentage. Just to give you a parallel from some of the other economies, this number is 10 in Japan, 10 percentage. This number is 30 percentage in China. This number is 24, 25 percentage in UK, and this number is 28, 29% in USA. So therefore, the potential is huge. Having said that, we contribute, and by we, I am always using luxury car industry. Luxury car industry, in spite of only 1.2% of sale, is contributing 11% of revenue to the government. So because of the obviously the higher taxation in this industry, obviously the revenue contribution is extremely high, and therefore this is an industry which almost all governments focus on by way of actually taxing it more every time because they feel, as our erstwhile finance minister also said, that they like to call it sin goods. So it is something which is regarded as sin goods. Offerings are great. Offerings vary from entry price point of 30 lakhs to as high as 7 crores. And industry also offers obviously a lot of products which are locally built, but also mostly imported products. This is a representation of how the entire auto industry and within that luxury industry is floating. I thought this would be interesting information for some of you members who are interested in automotive. As you can see, a lot of fluctuation, a lot of growth, but not exponential growth. If you look at 2010 from 2.17 million to 2019 2.84 million, for in spite of all our bravado that we are a growing economy and we are doing good, the auto industry hasn't changed too much. The pattern of selling is changing. The locations and geographies are selling, but the industry as a whole is still moving quite slowly. Of course, the aberration is going to be the COVID times. As you can see, the first half data has just come in, and industry has just taken a nosedive completely in this pandemic era. But by all indications, all manufacturers, including luxury manufacturers, have said that by 2021 we will go back to 2019 in terms of the data. So we should be able to arrive at that number. Doing all of this is still obviously a great opportunity for car companies and luxury car brands, because in spite of the higher taxation, as some of you might be aware, I'm sure most of you are already customers of our brands. Uh, it's the highest GST rate, and it attracts the highest taxation rate in India, and that also has not perturbed the customers to go for these vehicles, because not only they are safer, but they are also comfortable, and they also offer extreme prestige value. Their FBU attracts even further more import duty, and so in some cases, duties after all the cess and all the other components go as high as 106%, which is extremely prohibitive. And if you tell a man on the street that you are paying 106% duty on any kind of things, people will think that you're not thinking in your right mind before buying it. But such is the passion for these vehicles, and such is the also acknowledgement of the technology as well as the safety and feature driven of these vehicles, that people are willing to pay that high duty. It's also our unrealized potential in terms of pre-owned car market. It's very unorganized. Only a few players have company-owned pre-owned market where you give guarantees. So it's again something which is not happening. It only recently government has allowed players to import 2,500 cars without homologating the car locally, which basically means that you can bring the same European spec or American spec or Japanese spec model into India without getting it tested at near to Pune, the ARI facility. Obviously, you have to meet some basic standards. You have to pay higher taxation duties on these cars. And therefore, the reason I put this information here is under this rule, most of the luxury car players are trying to get electric vehicle to India, because the current norms in India to get a car homologated are very prohibitive, and the cars to start with, you have to crash test the car, etc. Locally, they do not accept the EU crash test results, etc. So most of the companies are taking this policy route to bring the electric vehicle into India, which is a commerce and a finance ministry initiative of allowing 2,500 cars to be imported without homologation. Most of the buyers continue to be entrepreneur and corporates, so the penetration hasn't driven deep. 75% of vehicles still continue to be retail finance, and as some of you are leading entrepreneurs and businessmen, you would realize in today's time, not only Corona, but even pre-Corona, banking system is super stressed in India. So retail loans and institutional loans are obviously not easily available at disposal. And therefore, if the industry is relying on retail financing and if banking system is stressed out, automatically the auto industry gets completely stressed out, because a lot of loans disbursements are not happening as they used to happen earlier. So this is also a huge limitation. And like I said earlier, virtually there is no leasing business. All this information I shared because you needed to know in what perspective the industry is operating. Now you look at somebody like yourself who is a luxury customer or a luxury buyer. You, like I said, you have a higher perceived value for the product. You use it for a status symbol. You also need a high performance vehicle, which is a powerful drivetrain. You need comfortable, luxurious. You want to buy a quality product. Safety is extreme importance, not only from in terms of airbags, but also overall build quality, ABS, things like that. You need high-end equipment. You need exclusivity. And you also need new technologies. You would always be, if you're paying that kind of price, you always want the best which is available in the market. What it means is that you expect the companies to have state of the art everything, right from the showrooms to services of the car. You are obviously looking for 24/7 customer support. You're looking for when you're going for long drives and God forbid you have a breakdown, you need company to support you there. You're looking for app-based services. We recently launched Audi app where you can, by sitting at your home, track where your car is going. You can stop the car. You can analyze the data. You can see if your driver has been idling the car while you have gone for a meeting and he's kept the car on for 2 hours using the air condition. But sitting in your meeting room, you can see that by just looking at the app. You can see what are the different things. So these kind of things have become really in vogue now. Uh, you need after sales service to be taken care of. You don't want every time when the car goes to workshop a bill to come to you. You want to pay a price one time and you want to have a peace of mind for 5 years, 7 years till the ownership period that you do not concern. You want a good resale value for the car and you also want lower maintenance cost. Combined with all these challenges, then where we are right now in 2020, there are obviously opportunities also. And therefore, companies like ours and many other companies think the opportunity is about going electric to meet the customer demand expectation as well as to meet production challenges on. So therefore, the challenge is very clear that if you go electric, some of these expectations and problems can be addressed. Why do people love electric cars? What is so fascinating about electric cars? The very first foremost thing where electric cars became in vogue was because they reduce emission. Since they do not run on any kind of gasoline, they reduce emission. In many markets, it saves fuel costs because I'm sure some of you are very well aware. The electricity is subsidized in many Western countries, especially in Scandinavian countries, etc. So the car running costs are extremely low. Also, in terms of driving dynamics, electric motor reacts much more quickly and linear. Like in our case, when we drive normal vehicles, you have a progression when you go through the gears, gear one, gear two, gear three. Uh, I think so. Somebody has probably, I get a notification saying raised a hand. Bharat Nayan raised a hand. Does that mean you have a question, sir? So should I just pause? Because I get a notification that somebody has raised a hand. Okay, I'll probably go on if you have a electric motor, the power is much linear. So you do not have to wait for what we say traditionally कि गाड़ी में pickup अच्छा है and गाड़ी में race अच्छा है. That you do not see in electric motor. It's switch on and switch off. From the moment you switch on and you press your feet on the accelerator, car goes as fast as you want it to go. So you do not have to build to a particular speed. The speed is delivered immediately to you because of electric motor, and that is something which a lot of people respect and like. Also, there is obviously this novelty factor of being a change agent, that you were the first one in your community, you were the first one in your society, you were the first one to buy electric vehicles, so you were the first one to adapt to this new technology. Pretty much similar to how it was when Apple came first with those Mac computers. While Windows was seen at that point of time more customer friendly, but there were a lot of pioneers who went for Mac computers because they wanted it to be the first people to adapt to a new change. Also, electric cars are seen more fun and practical because once you take away from the conventional drivetrain, some of you might be experiencing when you sit on the rear seat of your vehicles, you have this transmission tunnel in between on the floor, which makes the third passenger sitting very cumbersome for him because there is always that small mound which is there on the floor. That transmission tunnel is not required in electric cars, and therefore it's a flat surface, and therefore it gives you more practicality and more space in electric cars to use. So some of people find that really fun. Also, there are fewer moving parts. So there is obviously less wear and tear. You do not require oil changes. There are no fan belts to break. There are no spark plugs. There are no air filters. So there is no redundancy of these parts where you need to go to workstation to go and replace those kind of things, which you require to replace in some of the other cars. So that's in a nutshell why people love electric cars. Let me not tell you what is happening in India and per se globally in terms of car brands offering electric cars. So luxury industry obviously recognizes these opportunities, and including Audi, Porsche, and Mercedes. These are the cars I mentioned here, but there are obviously other brands also who offers fantastic electric cars and vehicles. They offer this car. How luxury industry is different than other industries, that they are offering electric cars to you, which are high performance vehicles. So these are the cars which have great power, like I just mentioned, the power here of upwards of 350 horsepower. They have no compromise on safety. They will have five-star Euro NCAP ratings. And most importantly, they will have huge range. So whether it's the Mercedes, whether it's the Porsche, or whether it's the Audi, or whether it's probably potentially BMW next year, all of these cars with minimum stated range of 350 kilometers to up to 500 kilometers, depending on how you drive your particular vehicle offers. The reason this figure is very, very important for a market like India is that we have no organized charging infrastructure. I'm sure some of you who are already perhaps considering to be pioneers and buying luxury, electric vehicles, one of the key questions which you would be having in your mind is, if I buy this car and I run out of charge, what's going to happen to me? I'm going to be stuck in some place with. Therefore, we feel as an industry, by offering such high charge range, or which is 350 kilometers, we're going to cover most of the customers who are commuting within the city. Nobody commutes within the city during the day more than 350 kilometers. What this means is basically you do not need to rely on public charging infrastructure. You do not need to rely on having charging infrastructure at your business place or at your office. You can be quite happy if you already have one charging facility, whether at your own residence or perhaps with a third party provider, like say with a dealer or some other charging facility. So you are not in need to charge on a daily basis. You can probably get by your day by even probably charging once a week. And that's where some of the car companies like ours feel the opportunity is in India already, in spite of the public charging infrastructure not being present. Uh, Besides the luxury car players, there are few premium and mass car players which are already in the market offering their luxury vehicles. You have Hyundai Kona, you have MG EV, you have obviously Tata Nexon, you have obviously Tiago, you have a E-Verito. Just to again share some data with you so that you understand what is happening in terms of development. Say a Hyundai Kona has sold close to 400 vehicles till date. MG has sold close to 500 vehicles till date in almost 6 months. Nexon has almost 1,000 vehicles, electric vehicles this. So the market is growing, but if you look at the entire market as a 2.4 million, 2.7 million, these are, you're talking about at best 1,000 cars by one particular brand. So it is low, but obviously the attraction is that there is no homologation required for these cars. In terms of taxation, huge advantage. You have only 5% of GST and no cess and nil registration. So basically, what I'm sure some of you buy your own vehicles are familiar with, there always is ex-showroom price and there is on-road price. In case of electric vehicle, there is absolutely no difference in ex-showroom and on-road price. It's almost the same. Marginal, very marginal difference. So obviously, people find that transaction to be also very clean and very acceptable. Uh, like I said, the performance parameters are great. In spite of being an electric car, 0 to 100, 5.7 seconds, great range, great torque. So these are built to be performance like sports cars, whereas look like a SUV and give you a much of space. There are also chargings which are not only available in the car, but there are charging kits given to you, which you can even use to charge at any other location. Companies like ours, and I'm sure some of our core competitors, also give you charging converters where you can use a simple 3-pin plug to convert that power, AC power to DC power to charge. So those kind of things are provided by luxury car manufacturing company, and these cars compare very well to other iconic models like Tesla. Uh, Tesla obviously was a pioneer in this industry, and Tesla got the entire industry to think about this. Tesla was the one which came out with this, but you have to recognize Tesla also did a favor to the auto industry because it woke up all these sleeping giants. All these great auto companies, Volkswagen Group or Mercedes or BMW or Audi or Jaguar, Land Rover, they were all not looking at electric. Once Tesla became a runaway success and everybody started talking about it, all these companies then finally started investing. And now you see the geographies or the ground realities of electric vehicle changing. Even if you look at some of the parameters here, some of the other traditional car manufacturers are offering you cars which are much higher powered than Tesla. Teslas are not that high powered, because it's essentially a software run car, whereas the other traditional players are offering you mechanical cars. So they have obviously much more higher performance parameters compared to a Tesla vehicle. What is also happening is because all the other manufacturers already are established players, they have the network ready to market these products. Some of you entrepreneurs and businessmen will understand it's not good enough to have your product. It is very important to have the distribution in place. And all these traditional companies like ours and say Mercedes and BMWs of the world already have established network all across the world where you can sell your cars. And immediately what has happened is that once these players have come into the market, say starting from last year, the cars have become extremely successful. In fact, e-tron has emerged as market leader in EU. It is also growing close to 87% annually. In fact, some of in the Western European countries, it's even having a market share of 92% in the electric segment. So Tesla continues to be a strong player in US. That's their home market. But if you see the chart above, Tesla is unfortunately not doing too well in European market. That's where the players like Jaguar I-Pace and Audi e-tron are doing well because they have the established network to sell these cars. So all of this should enable somebody like you that it's an easy decision. You should go electric. You should buy electric car. It's all going for us. It's a great performance vehicle. It has less complexity. It has great price point offering. It is wonderful product. So why should not we go for it? Having said that, there is a couple of important glaring issues with these vehicles which I need to point out to you to give you a complete perspective. So one is obviously the range, which is we talked about, and in some of the places, let's assume you are going from, let's say, Pune to Goa on a holiday. What do you do about charging once you reach Goa? Or for that matter, any other location for. So these are the concerns which a lot of people will have and which are genuine concerns. There are no answers. Uh, these cars, since they are mostly high software driven vehicles, are very extremely high price. While taxations are low, but the base price itself is extremely high. So these are very expensive vehicles, and lack of charging infrastructure is of huge concern. Also, what you need to realize is I've came across this very interesting cartoon on the top right, and let me even talk about it if you're not able to read it, how it happens in your mobile phones. If something goes wrong with your mobile phone, you are required to update the software, and if that does not work, you're required to change the phone. The future of electric cars are going to be such the cars cannot be repaired in most of the cases. So God forbid if things go glaringly wrong with your car, the solution the manufacturer or a dealer is going to give you is to replace your car. So there is not going to be, oh, I can change this fan belt or I can change this filter. The solution is going to be, I can offer you to change your car. Also, there has been a lot of concerns about how the electricity itself is generated, because a lot of people are going to buy them because these are going to be environmental friendly choices. But what you have to also recognize that in a country like India, electric basically is produced through not a clean energy setup. Electricity itself is produced through a fossil energy process. So you are in fact, while buying a vehicle which is eco-friendly, but you are fueling that vehicle with electricity which is produced from not a eco-friendly process. whether it's about that or whether it's about even nuclear power. So that is a question which a lot of people, also critics of electric cars, are offering right now. That if you are claiming that you're buying an electric car for environment friendly reasons, you are mistaken, because power in India is mostly supplied because of fossil energy. Also, there is huge environmental concerns raised by organizations regarding battery disposal and storages. What you need to understand is this is not like one battery which you have in your car currently. This most of the electric cars, the entire floor is full of batteries. These are small batteries. In most of the cases, it's close to cluster of 60 to 80 batteries per car. So it's 60 to 80 batteries per car. Imagine the disposal of batteries. As some of you might be aware, batteries are not naturally environment recycle friendly. Imagine if each battery starts discarding 60 to 80 batteries, you are talking about huge concerns. There are obviously solutions offered by certain industry players in terms of recycling of batteries and safe disposal, but still it remains a gray area. So in a nutshell, this is in terms of pros and cons. Having said that, I'm racing towards the conclusion of my slides. This is still growing dramatically, largely fueled by obviously these few countries: US, Western Europe, China, and Japan. So electric cars, as you can see, are continuously growing. Also, the important statistics is on this chart. India still continues to have only less than 20 vehicles per thousand people, whereas markets like US has more than 1,000 vehicles per thousand people. Even other markets have more than 400, 500 vehicles per thousand people. So the potential of India is huge in terms of people buying cars, because like I just said, per thousand people only 20 vehicles ownership is there. So it's a huge opportunity of growth. Also, when you combine that with the GDP income, we are the lowest in the world in terms of the penetration of car industry. So therefore, it's only the only way we can move is up in terms of more people, and as prosperity trickles down from tier one cities to tier two and tier three cities, you will see more and more ownership of cars happening. And therefore, the future continues to be bright. Right now, globally, 10% of car sales are electric, but it's poised to be almost 58% by in another 20 years' time. So with that, I conclude my formal part of presentation. I try to give you as much as information as I could. I'm very happy if some of you have any questions or any feedback, any comments, or probably any other questions related to auto industry. I'd be very happy to answer them.
Thank you very much. It was very interesting, informative, and I must say mind-blowing talk from your side. Thank you very much to be with us today. I will invite Rotarian Sanjay Merchant to coordinate question and answer session. Over to Sanjay.
Yeah, thank you, Colonel sir. Gaurav, it was really very informative. Anybody has questions, please? I see Mr. Vibhakar had a question. Vibhakar ji.
Hello.
Yeah, Vibhakar ji, you can go ahead.
We think pairs in very things. Cars and roads is a pair. In India, the road conditions are very poor. And looking at these electric cars, are they useful only for outstation goers or what?
Sir, you're right in employing that the car road conditions are poor, but I'll draw your attention to the development over last 6 to 7 years. There's a lot of work done by central and state governments on road infrastructure, and our highways conditions have improved tremendously, and that can be seen by two kinds of data. The data which you compare of unfortunate incidents of road accidents, if you compare that via state highways and national highways, you will see that there has been a huge reduction in that. Also, you will see the lesser breakdowns of vehicles. So it is obviously there is a lot of scope of improvement of road infrastructure. Having come to the second part of your question in terms of it's meant for outstation, absolutely not. On the contrary, I feel electric vehicles is going to be a prime vehicle for people who are using it for commuting within the city. The challenge will be of people who are going out of station, because they will always have, as we call it in the industry, range anxiety they will have. They'll always have, will my car last till I go there? But when you are within your city, you will not have that anxiety. So I feel more conversions happening for people who are going to use their vehicles within the city.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ruchi has a question, please. Ruchi.
Uh, can I ask a question?
Mukesh, one minute.
Mukesh,
Ruchi
you
is
go
there.
ahead.
After that, you take.
Sure.
No, let him go ahead.
No,
Let
go ahead.
Mukesh
Go ahead. Go ahead,
Okay,
Ruchi.
okay. Yeah, thank you. So Gaurav, it was really interesting to listen to you. But I'm Ruchan Gupta, and I got little confused with the number, right? So you mentioned that in India, we are selling about 34,000 vehicles annually in the premium segment, right? Which is 1.2% of the overall automotive market. And when I look at prices, Audi e-tron is positioned at somewhere around 1.5 CR. So which is even in the premium segment, it's on the higher side. Like Audi A3 is priced about 30 lakhs, right? So that means the electric vehicle becomes a status symbol more rather than a means of transportation of commute, right? So doesn't that defeat the whole purpose of bringing a eco-friendly car on the roads to reduce pollution and all that?
That's an excellent question you have asked, Mr. Gupta, and I must compliment you on your observation here. And it's a there's no easy answer to this, but let me try to give you to best of my perspective a comment on this. You're absolutely right. Prices for electric vehicles like e-tron or EQC from Mercedes are going to be very prohibitive to start with, simply because this is a price for technology you are paying. I will draw your attention going back to the Apple example when the first iPhone came. If you recall, it was the most premium phone in the market. Or when the first Windows laptop came, it was the most premium laptop. So these in the early on the first few years, the early times, there is going to be very high price because you are actually paying for in the first development of this technology. And India is not producing this technology currently. India is importing this technology from these European companies, starting from German and British companies, and in some limited cases like MG from China, etc. So therefore, you're paying a price for importing this technology. Government is enabling this by obviously reducing all the on-the-ground taxation, but there is a core cost of bringing these cars from there. So therefore, you're absolutely right. These in the beginning phase is going to be a niche market, extremely niche market. And it's only going to be available or rather be fanciful for early adopters. But as time will fly and as there will be more adaptation to this technology, I have no reason to believe where companies like ours will start producing these vehicles locally in India, and you will see a better price. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Mukesh.
Yeah, Mr. Sinha, as you yourself said, that the electricity that is produced for charging the cars and running these EVs is made from fossil fuels. So basically what these cars are doing is shifting the pollution from the tailpipe to the smokestack in the power plant, which is not really a solution because in the near future, it is not going to be renewable energy, is not going to form a major part of our electricity consumption. So what's the next step after electric vehicles? Isn't the eventual next step, what do you have to say about cars powered by fuel cells, hydrogen fuel cells? That is actually, according to me, the eventual technology on the environmentally friendly platform. Could I have some comments on that, please?
That's an excellent point, sir. And let me take out my Audi hat here. I will try to answer it as a person who's observing what's happening in the industry and not from a manufacturer point of view. This is where some of the concerns have been voiced by a lot of industry watchers that the movement to electrification has been expedited because of certain technology and vested interest in certain geographies of the world, and Therefore, certain other alternatives were not examined, like you rightly said, fuel cells or hydrogen-driven cars. So technology development on that has been left little behind. Having said that, let me also state this fact, not only for our company, but for many other companies, they're still continuing to develop what is called a hydrogen car. That there's a development going on that. There is advanced testing happening on those cars because a lot of, if you see the last Morgan Stanley report or if you see World Bank report, the electric producing is not going to completely change. Production is not going to change to environment friendly or hydropower, as we call it, or wind power completely in many developing countries. So therefore, to say that if you're buying an electric car, you're trying to be environment friendly is a misnomer because, like you rightly gave the
Absolutely.
analogy, you're moving from changing the emotion from the tailpipe to some other place. So you're absolutely right. The development is little slow in HTO or a hydrogen car, but it is happening. Let me tell you that car companies like ours, they realize that this is almost like a trend. This trend might last for 30 years, 40 years. Eventually, people will look for another option. So already the big car manufacturers are producing. Therefore, when you look at companies like Tesla, etc., they have a disadvantage because they are not traditionally a car company. They're a technology company and they went into only electric cars. Whereas this is the core business for companies like ours. We have to continue to innovate and develop. So there are hydrogen cars, there are fuel cell cars, there are other technology cars which are being explored and developed. It's not so much in mainstream media, but if you look for those information, you will find it. And I'm sure in next 20 years, you will see first production lines happening on fuel cell cars.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Prerna, you have a question?
Yeah, I do. Hi, good morning, Gaurav.
Good morning.
I wanted to ask you, I was just reading about it in some blog that I read abroad. They're starting up with battery swappability for cars. You have an EV, you drive it around, your battery is dead, you just swap the battery and go ahead. So what is the feasibility of that in India? Is it going to be coming in, and how would it work if it does come in?
So you're absolutely right. This is a technology or a service which is offered as an organized industry in some of the advanced markets. To start with, this will not be offered in India because these are technologies which are not offered by a manufacturer themselves. These are offered by third-party players. And this is a business of scale. And there is no scalability here. As you saw, as Mr. Gupta also earlier asked, the price point is so high, so there is no volume going to be. The volumes are going to be very limited, spread across such a vast geography of India. So let's assume, let's go to where you are in Pune. If I am that company which wants to offer that battery swap facility in Pune and I open my outlet there, in across Pune geography, probably at best I'll have 100 customers who are willing to first have the owners, out of which probably only a few are willing to even swap this, that to not an every year, because the battery life is for 3 years, 5 years. So swapping might not be there. Charging, you might want to charge your vehicle at home because battery swapping will also cost you a huge amount of money because that money is going to come from, obviously, the company is going to make money from charging vehicles, batteries. So it's not going to be a business proposition to start with in India. But once the penetration is deep, you are talking about a threshold of 30, 40, 50,000 vehicles, then you will see players getting into that. Also, you have to also remember what I briefly talked about. Storage of batteries are huge concerns. It's not only about physical space I'm talking about, I'm talking about chemical footprint. These are highly volatile pieces of equipment, and this is a huge gray area. So not many players have that expertise into that business. So it's an area which is proceeded with a lot of caution.
Gaurav, I had seen a small video in which they had shown a portable generator in that Tesla's dicky.
You're absolutely right. So it went viral few days back. I
Yeah,
think so. With all due respect, I think so. It was a scam video. It was made for fun. I don't think so. It's a realistic video. It was made one. It's called what we famously call the WhatsApp University. It's made for that. It's not. There is no realistic. I would love to sit here and criticize Tesla, but I don't think so. It would be fair for them. I don't think so. I would not. It's a fun video to watch. I also had a good laugh.
So
But
that's
I
actually
wouldn't.
not possible.
It's not, sir. At least to my limited knowledge, it's not possible, sir.
Thank you. One last question, Umesh ji. Yes, Umesh ji.
Yeah. Good morning, Gaurav.
Good morning, sir.
You have given a very good overview of electric vehicles. You have referred to homologation. So I wanted to have little know about what the homologation means.
Okay, sir. So, what happens is the Indian government has a prescribed norms for any car company. When you want to sell a vehicle in India, it has to conform to Indian standards. Those standards are listed and certified by an independent body, which is called ARAI, which is incidentally based in Pune for the entire India, actually. And all car companies need to submit their vehicles there. ARI tests these vehicles on various parameters, basis on which has been laid out, and then certifies that these cars are fit to be driven on Indian roads. It's something as basic as, say, left-hand drive to right-hand drive, to you need your brake pads need to be more effective, your other various things which they consider, mechanical parts need to be more robust, you need to be accounting for the various weather changes in India, etc., etc., etc. Once you meet those norms, you get something called a homologation certificate, after which only any car manufacturer is allowed to sell their car. Yeah. Now, this process is very, very time consuming. Most of the homologation process, right from manufacturer side to all the way to the government side, takes somewhere between 1 year to 2 years. So therefore, a company needs to plan in advance before they launch a vehicle, or in some cases more than 2 years in advance, to give the vehicle, get all of them, and then only sell. Now with the new norms, they have also included something called crash test in India. All this while all European, American and Japanese car makers were doing crash tests in their markets through independent bodies and getting certified that these cars are safe. And that certification was accepted by Indian authorities as acceptance of quality. From this year onwards, cars of a certain value and above, government has stated that the crash tests also has to happen in India. So therefore, if I go back to certain vehicles like ours, or let's say our sports car, where you must have seen in a picture, I put Virat Kohli with his sports car, that car costs 2.5 crores. If I have to get that car homologated in India, I have to first give the authority 2 of such cars 5 crore worth to crash them, to certify that they are good in accident. And that's, so even before I started selling, I'm down by 5 crores. And this is only just crash cost. Then you have development cost, then you have other costs. So that in a nutshell is how companies like ours, then when we bring higher cars, we avoid bringing it to India, because then the cost is prohibitive. Now that the new government policy has come, which I talked about, of 2,500 vehicles to be imported without homologation, under this, we, Mercedes, BMWs, JLRs of the world are now bringing some of these niche vehicles and performance vehicles, because then you don't have to go through homologation.
Thank you. Well explained.
Thank you very much.
I think that's all we will be able to do. Gaurav, I was very happy that the symbol of the bulb had the Audi symbols within it. That was very innovative.
Thanks for noticing that. Thanks for noticing.
Over to Colonel Saab back.
Thank you, Gaurav and Sanjay ji, for your very interesting questions and very interesting answers. Before I proceed further, some guests have joined after meeting started, so I would like to welcome them. Sanjeev Chaudhary is there. Welcome, Sanjeev ji. Dr. Colonel Sudhir Jha is there. Welcome, Dr. Colonel Sudhir Jha. Pradeep Patil is there. Welcome, Pradeep ji. Shruti Mishra is there. Welcome, Shruti. Sunil Bhatia is there. Welcome, Sunil Bhatia ji. Harmesh Tana is there. Welcome, Harmesh Tana ji. And finally, K.N. Kulkarni. So you are most welcome to join our meeting, and please keep on joining in future also. So moving on another next agenda, I would like to invite Rotarian Ruchin Gupta for formal vote of thanks. Over to Ruchin.
Thank you, Colonel Mishra. It's my pleasure to extend the formal vote of thanks to Mr. Gaurav Sinha for taking out time of the busy schedule and having a session with us on the electric vehicles. And Mr. Sinha, it was really an insightful session, and there were some myths which were counter to the ordinary belief, like there will be more maintenance on electric vehicles, whereas I realized that it's actually less maintenance. And some other things, we were aware of the tax benefits and all those, but it was really good to listen to you. And coming from a person who is highly placed in the automotive industry, it brings a reliability on your words, basically. So it was a very delightful session, and on behalf of the club, please accept our sincere thanks for joining us today, and do keep joining us whenever
Thank you
possible.
for inviting me. Thank you for the opportunity. I really enjoyed interaction. To be amongst such distinguished group of people. It's my pleasure and my privilege. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Colonel Mishra, back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Ruchinji and Gauravji. This Thought of the Week has been a tradition of the Rotary Club Pune Riverside. So Vikram is traveling today, so I would like to invite Vibhakar Ram Tirthankar. He is AG Coordinator, District 3131. Over to Vibhakar Ram Tirthankar ji.
For what you have called me, please?
Thought of the Week. Thought of the Week.
The thought of the week is, we don't see things as they are, we see things as we are.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. This joke of the week is also interesting, and it's a healthy tradition. So I would like to invite Rotarian Sandeep Bass. Over to Sandeep ji.
Thank you, Kanu sir. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Gaurav. It was great to listen to you today. So there was this retired guy who was fishing, and while he was fishing, he heard this voice, "Pick me up and kiss me." He was amazed. I mean, he just looked around and he saw a frog floating.
You're talking about yourself, Sandeep?
Sorry?
Just joking. I said you're talking about yourself.
So he says, "Okay, tell me what it is." So this frog says, "If you pick me up and kiss me, I will turn into the most beautiful woman you have ever laid your eyes on. And then if you want, you can marry me and I'll stay with you forever." He says, "Okay." He picks up the frog and puts it in the pocket. The fox says, "Probably you didn't listen to me very carefully. You're supposed to kiss me." He says, "Actually, I thought about it. I realized it's better to have a talking frog than a nagging wife."
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Sandeep ji. This good joke. We have already overshooted the time, so I would like to have your permission now to end the meeting. Is there permission for me?
Yes.
Thank
Colonel.
you. Thank you. Good morning, Deepak bhai. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Enjoy the day, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye, Deepak.